So I'm just mindlessly scrolling Reddit, I'm just mindlessly scrolling social media, Facebook, Instagram. I'm also going on Tinder, to check out whether I got some matches or not. And I'm just, doing these things all the time and just really thinking about, bro, like, I'm really wasting my time. I'm supposed to be picking up that book and I'm supposed to be reading, or just simply go out there and get some workout session done. Because I know that I'm quite obese and I would like to change up my situation. And also I know that I'm supposed to be learning more because I know so little about the world, and I really set for myself that I will be reading these books. But for some reason those things just look so freaking far apart from me, because I just simply do not find the motivation. And instead of that, I'm just getting some tingling sensation inside of myself, and I'm just figuring that I'll be just, checking up Instagram for some hot models, if you will. So, and after that, I'm finding myself into an endlessly self-rottening session of 2 or 3 hours of watching pornography, where am I ending up by the darkest and deepest and most and ugliest and most disgusting parts of the internet, watching some kind of freaked out animal pornography, something like this. And so, brothers, this is exactly me a few years ago. And so I just got to a place where I said that, bro, like, this is enough. Like, this is not good, like, I'm just wasting my time. And there must be some way, like, I'm watching all these people out there who are on NoFap, who are doing semen retention. They're doing all these great things. They're building businesses, so on and so forth. And so I was like, man, like, I have to do something with this shit. And so, after I started reading about dopamine, and after I started experimenting with dopamine, and so my very first meet with dopamine was throughout semen retention, or would say NoFap, because NoFap pretty much brought with itself quitting pornography. And so, basically something which I had a great addiction with, it just somehow ended, which was perhaps my greatest dopamine release during those days, because I was like, man, bro, I'm not lying here, but I had days when I had at least 2 sessions, or maybe even 3, and I spent 3 to 4 hours watching it. 3 to 4 hours. Think about that. What can you do with 3 to 4 hours? Like 4 hours every single day. If you're also counting weekends, that's 2/3 of a work week. Or whatever craft you're doing for 28. Let's just count with 25 hours a week. What can you accomplish with that? What can you do with that? And not only if you would be just simply throwing those hours out of the window, but what kind of a distraction that is doing to your brain? Because think about that. If you're always used to, if your brain got used to always getting the high stimulus, which means that you're just always high, then you cannot do the things that are boring. And so, next to pornography, for example, or video games, reading a book is not that interesting. Reading a book is not that interesting, or going out there and working out is not that interesting. And so I got many days when I just simply got to the point where, watching a movie like wasn't interesting, because I just got my brain so much overstimulated. And so nowadays I just realized that, for example, before yesterday, I got so damn charged by reading, by just reading. And not even reading about some topics with some fantasy or any kind of a story with it, which could be regarded as more like entertaining in that sense, in an easy sense, when you do not have to do too much things with your brain, just enjoy the story and the read. But it was like science, brother. Science, like, hardcore material. And so I was like, I'm like loving it, bro. Like, thank you, man. Like, finally, by the end of the day, this is my biggest dopamine release activity. And so nowadays, what I've also realized is that I can pretty much work and like literally me sitting in my room thinking, like basically doing damn nothing, thinking, writing down my ideas on my phone, and pretty much like planning my processes in my business. I can spend hours with that, 3, 4, 5 hours without a break, just like getting into the process and like nothing else exists. And that could be also regarded as boring as hell. Like you're literally doing nothing. You're just with your brain. It's like you're at zero external stimulus. And so pretty much I got to the place where I'm telling you, like, reading is freaking, it's like my new porn, like reading. And so what I've done and how I've been able to get here is throughout restraining the dopamines which I'm getting inside, which I'm getting throughout the day. And so I'm starting my days every single day with working out, or if I do not have the time to work out, or I mean, like, if I have to solve something in my business which is urgent, then I will be working out afterwards. But the point is that after me getting this workout session done, which means that mostly 2 hours of being with my thoughts and like zero external stimulus and also doing these hard things, like after this I'm like, man, like, and after also a cold shower, I'm like, I cannot wait to write down some ideas. Like, I cannot wait to write down some ideas and just do something. And so this is how you're eventually able to get to those places where you're like, man, like, you can be productive. Because, and this is also another thing that I recently figured, it's that if you're getting your brain used to pretty much, I wouldn't say never, but very, very, very rarely getting consummatory pleasures, or would say dopamine throughout a consummatory way, for example, consuming media, consuming even food, whatever, then you're just simply getting used to your brain that you will need to get through something which could be regarded as an accomplishment to your brain. So you're pretty much like setting up a goal, and you will have to get there. You will have to produce a kind of an outcome in order for you to get to that goal. And after that, you will be getting those rewards. So for example, running, setting yourself up to run 2 miles. You're getting that done, dopamine releases. Okay. Next one, reading a book, reading a chapter in a book. It's like, man, like if I'm getting to by the end of that chapter, I'm like, dopamine. Another thing, getting a business process done, getting at the end of that, dopamine, so on and so forth. So you know what I'm talking about. And so what I realize is that if I'm just simply teaching to my brain that, man, this is how this thing works, and and if you're getting through that thing, then you will be just simply getting the dopamine. And so by this, you can put yourself into super extreme situations where you're being hungry, you're being emotionally low, whatever it might be, but you're still going through that activity, and by you going through that activity, you're just simply getting the reward anyways. So let me tell you a story. This is also connected with my reading session. So basically that day, I was super damn low on calories. I'm eating 1 meal a day, which means that by the end of the night, I have 10, 12, even 14 hours of window when I haven't eaten anything. And my body, well, there are days when I'm switching into a good fasting mode. I mean in a very, very good way into fasting mode, which means that I'm not physically hungry. I'm just switched into fasting mode without too much of a problem, too much of a struggle. But there are days when I'm just pretty much like, I would say, quite like shaking because of hunger, like physical fucking hunger. It's like physical fucking hunger when you're just like, you just haven't eaten. It's like physical hunger. Your body needs the calories. Your body needs the freaking energy. It's like you are collapsing because you just simply need energy. And so, because of these things, I just simply thought to my brain that, man, like, you will have to get that process done. And now that you've got that process done, for example, with business, now you're sitting your ass down and you're reading a bit, and after that you're eating. And so now that I conditioned myself, or would say my brain, this way, I found myself, it was around I'm not recommending this, but I'm just telling this as an example. I'm not recommending this to pretty much like anyone, because perhaps it's a bit too much. It's like going through the normal limits. And so it was around 10 p.m. and I was like, man, like I'm physically, you know, like I'm not kidding, you know, like my vision is like my vision wasn't even clear, you know. I had, you know, like visual shit going on, like extreme physical hunger. And I was like, man, okay, I don't care about it. I set for myself that I will be reading it, and I was like, man, okay, this is what I will be doing. I'll pick up that book and I'll be reading for a little bit. And so I started reading, and something just, you know, like clicked inside my brain, and I was like, man, okay, let's read a little bit. I kept on reading, and I was like, man, I only have 2 or like 3 pages left in this book. And by the way, as I told you, I'm reading like quite hardcore material. It means that I'm rereading 3-4 times the actual page. And since English is not my native language, and there are many very very uncommon words in that book, I have to translate, and I'm translating everything. And I'm like, man, you know, like it takes me time. But I was like, man, like I only have 2 or 3 pages left in this book. I was like, man, like I'll be finishing up this thing. And I just, you know, like got the dopamine and that. And after that, and I was like, you know, like lethargical before that. And after that, I just simply got that thing done. And after that, I was like, besides of me being physically hungry and shaky and my vision and all that, I didn't care. I was like, man, like I don't care. Like I can go. You know, like put me in a marathon, I can go. The same thing with running. Many days I'm feeling super hungry and super everything, you know, like emotionally down, whatever it might be. And in the very beginning, and I'm talking about it many times on this channel, is that I just do not feel like it. I don't want to run. It's like, man, like, no, I don't want to run. I'm shaking. I don't have enough calories, so on and so forth. And somehow, as I'm just going through that thing, and every single step, my body just resists. Like, don't do that, Brent. Like, this is not good for you. And so I'm just going through that. I'm just going through that running session. And by the end of every single running session, when I'm setting up for myself, for example, like 10 rounds, when I'm getting that shit done, it's like dopamine releases, and after that, I'm like, boom, in the flow. Boom, next thing, cold shower. Boom, done. Work. Boom, done. Build. Boom, done. Yoga. Boom, done. Tinker. Boom, done. Meditation. Boom, done. Eating. Boom, done. Singing. Boom, done. Sleep. Repeat. These are my days, pretty much, right? And so, as you could hear over here, it's not like, yeah, scroll through social media, let's take a nap. That's not for me, bro. And so this is how I've been able to pretty much like hack my brain to go through all day long like a freaking wicked animal without getting tired, pretty much. And not only just not getting tired, but being motivated all the time, or not necessarily motivated, but driven. It's like, man, like I don't stop because something is driving to me. And because I'm restricting dopamine so much, I'm just always on the thing to get that reward from somewhere, because your mind is craving, or your brain is craving that thing. It's like, get that reward for somewhere. And so your brain just learns. You're teaching your brain. This is the way how you're getting it. Exercise, reading, working, singing. That's it. Like these are the only things. These are the only things that you can get your dopamines. Very rarely, since I'm in monk mode and very thin with relationships at this very moment, very rarely good conversations. But this is how this whole thing works, brothers. And don't think about it, you know, like if you want to be productive, it's like this, you know, like nap these hours. It doesn't work like that, bro. It's like cut out everything, cut out the BS, and you will find out yourself doing the hard things naturally. So the core takeaway over here, and I must finish this video because we are going over 15 minutes and I really need to get a lot of work done today. Man, cut out the BS, cut out the noise. That's the easiest way. The actual way to do the hard things is to cut out the easy things. So you will remain the hard things only, and so that way you will be like that's it. Like you will still have to get your rewards from somewhere, and you'll be just simply getting your rewards from that place. That's it. Love.